Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Welcome to our service. We are blessed by you sharing your time with us in worship together. I am Cantor. This is the Torah teaser. The background is a little different from last week. I keep trying to keep it fresh. Last week we were just pointed that way. This week that way. I'll try to find something a little more different next week. Sun is going down. Probably be in my eyes here in a second. East is back this way. In any case, let's go ahead and get started. And let's start the same way we did last week, with the first two formal blessings typically said in temple. So if you have your Siddur handy and you have page 44 open, let's start and pray together the Baruch Hu. Bless the Lord, the Blessed One. Blessed is the Lord, the Blessed One, for all eternity. Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamvorach. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach. Leolam Vaed. And we continue with the blessing of Messiah, where we thank God for giving us the way of salvation through his precious and atoning sacrifice. That can be found on the bottom of page 46. Blessed are you, O Lord our God, King of the universe, who has given us the way of salvation through Messiah Yeshua. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu et derech ha-Yeshua, b'Mashiach Yeshua. Amen. Thank you for sharing those two prayers with me. So, we'll go ahead and get started. I'll repeat the verses that I gave you last week that were for this week. They are Leviticus 22:32. It was in the Haftorah, it was Ezekiel 44:24. And the Brit Hadashah was James 1:2 and 3. The Torah speaks this week, the verse that I pulled out, about not profaning God's holy name. Now, what are we to follow, or how are we to follow this direction? Simple. Read the verse prior to the one I picked, and it tells you. Keep the commandments. The Haftorah assigns the duty of judging, but in accordance with God's judgment, and not our own. And where do we find that guidance? Once again, the commandments, the laws, and the statutes. The Brit Hadashah warns that in judging and following God's commandments, laws, and statutes, we will be challenged, but that this challenge should not be feared. Now last week, and last week's portion, or the verses I picked this week's and next week's are all connected. Last week was a discussion of the contrast, or the concept between allowable, illegal, and good. Verses this week continue with getting a little deeper into where we find what is allowable and good, and the resistance we will run into when we are within those two limits. And the point is illuminated for us that this resistance is not a negative, but in fact a positive, a blessing, because it builds strength, wisdom, perspective, humility, just to name a few. Now, as I move on, I'm going to take for granted that, for a moment anyways, everybody agrees that we should not profane our God through deed or word, and that you agree that to do this we must, even can't avoid, judging or weighing the actions of the world around us, as well as, and maybe most importantly, our own actions and behavior. Remembering last week's lessons to remain on the correct path, the pleasing path of the righteous sojourner. Doing that, as we move through our short time here, we are either adding value to or taking it away from God's ultimate plan of reconciliation, depending on how hard or how much a part of our life we make those commandments. But to do all this, we obviously must have a standard. It can't be an arbitrary or man standard that changes on a whim, as if floating in a void with no boundaries, no anchor, no ultimate right or wrong. The obvious standard, and I'm sure you know, for the living is God's Word. The direction of this week's readings are clear. At least it's clear for those who have eyes to see and ears to hear. The statutes, the laws, and the commandments are important gifts from God to live a good life, pleasing and in accordance with God's direction. That really is the Torah teaser, following God's commandments, and what it means to our life, the resistance we may find. As always, there's some really good things in there, and I hope you get a chance to read them. Now, both this week's and last week's thoughts lead directly to next week, where again we will hear the same theme in the Torah and the Haftorah anyway, and that is the importance of God's commandments. Wind just picked up a second. Okay. Then after all 8 readings, and I'm not counting the Brit Hadashah for next week, after all 8 readings over these 3 weeks, including next week, I picked a verse from the Brit Hadashah that may seem to flip everything. I picked it because it highlights an often voiced and very often unvoiced question. When you read the Brit Hadashah, it will become obvious to you. What is the relevance of the commandments? How do they fit in with us today? But first, I hope you can take some time to review, again, a little of last week's message on what is lawful as opposed to what is good. This week, specifically, what we are called to do. Where do we find guidance? How do we view the challenges of this path that we take? And then read next week's and make up your own mind. What does it mean to you? What do the commandments to you? Intrinsically, we know that they're good. But how would you answer that question? Or put into perspective for a new believer the meaning and relevance of God's word, God's commandments, especially in light of their newfound knowledge of Yeshua's sacrifice. This path to salvation, and what next week's Brit Hadashah means about it. That question is one I'm sure you've heard before. Some of you probably come to the temple just because of the answers you've received to that question. Boy, when we get back together, and I can't wait for that, I really don't like talking to a camera. When we get back together, I'd like to hear what your ideas are on this, because I think it's really important to be able to answer that question in a way that makes sense to people, in a way that's true to God's wishes for us, in a way that's faithful to the Word of God. So I look forward to that. Next week's verses are Leviticus 25:17, Jeremiah 17:9 and 10, and very importantly, in the Brit Hadashah, Romans 6:14. Hopefully we can share a few thoughts. I think it'll be fun. And maybe I have a way of looking at it that may change the way you visualize it. I'll see you next week. And I'll end with this. As always, please know deeply in your heart, in your very soul, that you are important to our God. You are important to the body of Yeshua. And you are important to your spiritual family here at Beth Israel. God bless.